Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Alan Biermacher, and I am the Technical Operations Director here at Digital Drafting Systems. And thank you for joining us for our blog today around explaining linking methods with BIM Collaborate Pro and the Autodesk Construction Cloud. This is an area that we get a lot of questions around. I know I had quite a hard time wrapping my head around it initially as well. But essentially, it's the method in which you link to your co-collaborators' files. Um, and basically, because of some built-in workflows and automations that exist in the Construction Cloud, there are some variations on what you can do and how you can control that workflow. So let's go ahead and jump in. So there are three linking methods that we're going to be talking about today. Live linking is the least controlled of the three. It's, kind of everything just happens as it goes. And then you've got your two controlled linking methods, the share method and the consume method. And again, we're going to dive deeper into these as we go here. So for our demos that we're going to be doing today, we're going to be dealing with kind of two disciplines or two teams. Um, so our support user that we're going to be emulating is going to be the architectural team, while the MEP team is going to be their co-collaborator. So we're going to be linking the MEP model into the architectural model. Okay, and you'll see that as we go throughout the day here, but just want to mention that right off the top. Okay, so starting with live linking. So what is live linking? So with a live linking method, you will basically link directly to the working location of that co-collaborator's model. So, that means if the MEP is working on the model directly in their folder, you're linking directly to that location. What does that mean? So that means that you're going to see the changes that those co-collaborators are making in their model pretty much right away, if not with a slight delay, depending on how often you're reloading or any of those sorts of things. One thing to keep in mind is you will need to set folder permissions appropriately for the people who need access to their folders to have access to their folders for working, as well as for viewing or linking to certain folders as well. We're going to talk about that in just a moment. Uh, Again, this takes away your control a little bit in terms of what is being seen and when. Every time a change is made, you will see it upon the next reload of the link or upon the next reopening of the model when those links are reloaded back in. Okay, so again, very quick high-level overview. Let's actually see what that looks like in action. So the first place we're going to go here is we're going to go over to our Construction Cloud portal. If you don't know how to get here, it's acc.autodesk.com. You can go ahead and check out some of our past videos where I dive a little deeper into uh, more of the background of the platform itself, how it all works. Okay, so in my account admin here, you can see that I've created a couple of different linking methods explained projects for our purposes today. And all I've done in these projects so far, and we'll dive into this first live linking project, is I've added a second user other than my admin user that I have up here. And that's going to be the user that we're emulating today from the Revit perspective momentarily. So what we want to make sure to do is we want to make sure that the users who need it have access to the docs module and the design collaboration module. And once we do that, we'll jump over to our docs area. So all I've done here so far is I've just created an architectural folder and an MEP folder. And I've actually gone ahead and uploaded just basic workshare models into both of these folders, okay, for our perspectives. This, again, these are all things that have been covered in my other videos on the topic. And you can see here the little work sharing cloud model icon shows us that these are already both uploaded as work sharing cloud models. What we do want to do here, though, again, I'm logged in as the admin right now, so I have visibility to everything. But if I was taking the perspective of our architect user, our support user, we are going to go ahead and have to set up their permissions. So the architect folder, they need permissions to, obviously, because they're going to be actually editing that model. So we're going to add that here. We're going to type in the email for that user. Uh, Again, would have come up in my past videos, but you can also set this permission by role. If you wanted to add, the engineer role, anybody with that role, or anybody from a certain company that's added here would be added by company at the bottom, and then or by individual. So we can do that here. Again, this is the architectural folder, so we're going to give this user edit access so they can actually go in, edit their file and whatnot. And then we'll jump to the MEP folder. And so we do still need to give them access to the MEP folder, even though they're not working in that folder for this live linking method. And so again, we'll go support here. But for linking only, all you need to give them is this view and download files access. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're going to say add. And so now we've basically done the setup that we need to do here on the cloud side. So we're going to jump over to Revit now. And so now this is Revit 2025 here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and jump in here to our Autodesk projects area. And we're going to look for that live linking method project. And so here you'll see your architectural folder, your MEP folder. If we go to that MEP folder, you'll see that I have no visible cloud models. That's because the access that I've received is just, remember, that view that view download access. As you can see up here, we're using that support user. But if we go to the architectural folder, we should have the visibility we need here. And so let's go ahead and open that file. Okay, so once this is open, let's go ahead, and what we want to do is we want to link that other file in. So we're going to go up here to our manage, then manage links. This may look a little different for those of you that are not on 2025 yet. The location of the wording here is different, but it should be very similar. You're going to go ahead and add. Here you have to choose Revit. In the previous kind of look of things, you would just be in the Revit tab when you would say add. And so it's going to pull up your external references area here. Should default to this folder location. And so basically we're going to jump in to our folder structure. We're going to go to the MEP folder. And you can see from this perspective, we do have visibility to this MEP file. So we're going to go ahead and say open. And so you'll see here now, this is here. So if we look back, we now see this smaller folder. That's the MEP file being linked in there. So, you know, as far as linking goes, how does this all work, right? So if the MEP continues to work on their file, they change something, they synchronize it, you're not going to necessarily see that change right away if you're working in the moment. But if you come back in here to manage links and you just say reload, we're not going to see a change here because obviously nothing's changed on that MEP file, but you would then be loading that latest change, and that's all you would need to do to see that latest change. The other thing you can do is just go ahead and close the architectural model and reopen it, and when you reopen it, it's going to reload that MEP link or any linked file that you have there, and you'll see those latest changes. So again, not much control, pretty much changes will be seen right away. So the next thing here we're going to do is pretty much nothing on this one because that pretty much explains the way that you would do the linking. As the other group continues to go ahead and make changes to their files, you'll see those changes happen over time again as soon as you reload or as soon as you reopen the file. And that's live linking. That's pretty much it. And that's how that works. So let's go ahead and we can close this now. We can just go ahead and sync this. And from here, we will go ahead and jump back to our PowerPoint. All right. So moving back here, we're going to go ahead and move over to the controlled linking side of things. And so, as I mentioned, the difference here is that you actually have to take a couple of extra steps in order to control when you're going to see those latest changes, whether you're the one controlling the sharing of those changes or deciding when you're ready to consume those changes. And that's the difference here between these two. So let's go ahead and jump over to the shared method. And so basically, this is the first controlled linking method like we talked about. This allows the team working on the model to choose when to share changes to be seen by teams linking to their model. Teams need to be set up in the design collaboration module. We're going to go over that here momentarily. And then there is no need to manually modify folder permissions, anything like that, because that all happens automatically. And then yes, share packages must be created. Again, we're going to talk about that here in the demo in just a second. So let's go ahead and jump over to our Chrome window here. So let's go ahead and move over to that project. So that project I've done a little bit less setup actually than the one that we're looking at here. So we're going to have a little more kind of from scratch view. So share method. And so from this side of things, you'll see we don't have any folders here as of yet, right? We do have the users that we talked about, the same ones, just like the other project. But what we're going to need to do to get this all set up from the beginning correctly is go to this design collaboration area. And from here, we're going to go to close all of these pop-ups. So it's going to drop us into settings. So we first need to define our shared folder location. Typically, project file shared is the typical location. I'm going to leave it that way. If you needed to use something different, you could. Just make sure you set that up here initially correctly because this cannot be changed once it's set up. So we're going to click next, confirm and continue. And then here, we're going to go ahead and create our team. Um, so we're going to go ahead and create our architecture team. We're going to say add. And then we're going to go ahead and create our MEP team. And again, we'll say add. And not that it's going to make much of a difference here, but let's flip these colors because we did have these kind of colors here on our PowerPoint just to keep things organized. Okay, so on the right side here, you can see that we've got numbers, right? The number of members that we're seeing here. So we see members one, that's going to be me because I'm the admin. I inherently have permissions to everything and I'm a member of every team. But what we want to do here is we want to go ahead and add that support user that we had talked about previously because they're going to need to be a member of the architecture team. So here you have to add by name, not by email. So that's what this is here. And then you add the level of permission. So we're going to say edit access and add. And you'll see that user now is going to show up right here on this list. Let's give this a moment to do its thing. All right. So now that's done, I am going to basically go ahead and close here. You're going to see members now 2. And if we go back to our docs area, we are now going to see an architecture folder, an MEP folder, and a shared folder. So right now there's nothing in these folders other than these consume folders that again we're going to talk about in a little while, and automatically under this shared folder, you see we have an architecture and an MEP folder. So the next thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and pause and I'm going to go ahead and upload an architecture file and an MEP file, and we'll pick up in just a second. Okay, so this is where things get a little bit different in the shared method. So, um, essentially what we would have to do here is we have to go ahead and first publish our latest changes and then share them. So let's put on our MEP hats here temporarily, and let's jump back over to Revit. So in Revit, let's go ahead and open the MEP file and let's make some kind of small change here. And so let's just say that we remove this wall here on the right side and we go ahead and sync those changes. And so when we're done syncing those changes, some of you may already know this, but you're not going to see those latest changes back on the web browser side of things just yet, right? If we go back to the web browser side of things, here we open the MEP file and we open this, we're still going to see all 4 sides here, all right? So why is that? That is because we have not yet published those changes. So that's the step we're missing. So jumping out of here now, if we refresh, you'll see that under this published status area, update available. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and publish these latest changes. So we're going to go ahead here and say publish latest, publish. And those latest changes are going to go ahead and publish up to the cloud. So that will do its thing in the background. Let's go ahead and jump back here. So this in a moment is actually going to go to version 3. Yeah, you'll start seeing that here. Let's take a couple seconds. And so here, after a short wait, we're going to see that we see the version 3. And if we open this, we should see one wall missing. Perfect. And so what we need to do again as the MEP is jump up here to the design collaboration area. And in our home area, we're going to see something up here. It's going to say MEP right now. If you click on these three dots, it's going to show us our timelines or our swim lanes as they call them. And so uh, as the admin that I'm logged in as right now, I can choose to move over to the architectural timeline or just stay in the MEP timeline for time being. Where MEP, you can see here a square. That means that there was a publish done at a certain point. And this is because I actually was trying to create a shared package earlier, but it didn't work. So let's go ahead and create a package by clicking on the plus. And so here, we're actually going to be able to choose our set that we'd like to include, or our model, or our document, however we want to go ahead and add that. And we're going to go ahead and click Save. And we're going to go ahead and click Share. And so here we can go ahead and put, whatever name we'd like to put if we need to. I don't find it important to be that descriptive, primarily because there's dates listed there. So we're just going to go ahead and click Share. And when we do that, you're going to see it's going to take a moment again and kind of load up, do its thing. But you'll see if we go back to the timeline, there's now a filled circle, which means that there was a share completed. And if we jump back to our, to our docs area here, and we go to our shared folder, and we open the MEP folder, you see here that it's actually copying that MEP file to this location. Okay, so that's where we're actually going to be linking from in this scenario. And so, as the MEP goes back and they continue to work on their file and they publish a new change and share that change, this will eventually update to a version 2. And then again, just like it was with the live linking, it's going to go ahead and be uploaded or updated, in terms of what you're seeing from the file that you're linking from every time that you either reload that file or when you reopen that file for the next time. So again, let's jump back over to Revit and putting on our architect hat. We're going to go ahead and jump into our architectural file. Give this a moment. And so what we'll do here is, again, same like we did before, manage links, add, Revit. And we are going to go ahead and now link instead from this shared folder. So you see here, I see my architectural folder, but I don't see the MEP folder. And so that's where that control comes in, right? I can't see that working MEP model, but I can see the copy that's been dropped here in the shared folder. And I can link from there. So when the MEP, like I said, goes, makes a change and publishes that latest change and shares it, then all I have to do in here, if I'm already in the file, is I just have to go ahead and do a reload, because it's going to overwrite the file in that same exact location with the same name. So you don't have to relink, you don't have to change anything like that. Or like I said, same thing, if we close this file and reopen it, we'll see those latest changes. So again, here we see this MEP file and it's missing this wall like we just saw updated. So that's the shared methodology. Let's do a quick sync here. And so now the last method that we're going to go ahead and cover is going to be the consumed linking method instead. So the consumed linking method is very similar to everything we've seen so far, right? You have to go ahead and do everything we've done so far. You have to create your teams, you have to add your team members, you upload your files to each of those team folders. You do have to go and publish and share those latest changes. The difference here is you're linking from a different location where the consumer of those changes, in our case, the architect, has to determine when they're ready to see those changes, and that's when the file basically will be updated in that location and they'll see those latest changes. So again, a lot of the same information as before. Teams need to be set up, no need to manually modify folder permissions. Again, the share package must be created and that package must be consumed. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that looks like. We're going to jump over to another project now that I've already gone ahead and done everything that we've done thus far, right? So I've already created teams, uploaded files, and we are just ready to jump right into that, okay? So jumping back over to this now. So now you'll see we're in the consume method project. And what I wanted to show you here is that I've basically gone ahead and prepped to the same extent that we had done previously almost. And I'll show you what that missing step is. But we did go over on the MEP side, created uploaded the model, made a latest change, and then went ahead and shared that change or published it rather. And so now back on the web side of things, see the version 3 right here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and jump to the design collaboration area, again wearing our MEP hat. So we actually have to change here, like we mentioned in the prior section, to wear the MEP hat. We see the publish here. So we're going to go ahead and create that shared package with those latest changes. We're going to save it. We're going to share it. And so once we do that, we'll be able to see that in our timeline. So you see it now here in the timeline. So basically what's happened so far, if we go back to docs, is everything we've done up to this point, right? If we go to that shared folder under MEP, we're going to see that latest file copied, right? So now what's different for the consume method? So in the consume method, there's one more step. Putting my architect hat back on now, I need to go ahead and jump into design collaboration. Make sure I'm looking from the architectural view. And what you'll see here is that there is an empty circle. That means that the MEP team shared a package, right? And so if I click on that circle, it will actually show me those latest changes, and I can actually click on to preview this model. It may still be kind of processing in the background there, but typically you should be able to view those changes. And so what you can do here, when you're ready, you say, okay, well, these changes don't look like they'll affect anything we're working on. I'm ready to bring them in and to see them in what I'm doing. You're going to go ahead and click on this consume button back here. And so we click consume. And so now what happens is basically just one more step in that kind of automated workflow. So if we go back to docs and we go into our own architectural folder or architecture folder, you see we have a consumed folder. Again, this is all created automatically. Once you consume your first file, it's going to create a folder from that discipline, and you're going to see a brand new copy of that file here. So again, just like with the shared methodology previously, if the MEP makes a newer change, publishes that change, and shares it, you're not going to see that change right away. You're going to be able to say, hey, you know what? We're in the middle of working on something. We don't want to see those latest changes yet. Let's wait a moment, and then we'll consume when we're ready. And when you're ready to consume, it's going to upload the file, or it's going to copy the file into this location, and it's going to overwrite what's there, right? Same name, same location. So the next time Revit opens or the next time you reload, you're going to see those latest changes. So if we jump back to Revit, and again, we see here we have access to the architecture folder and the shared folder, but not the MEP folder. If we go ahead and open that architectural file, and then once we are in here, we're going to go ahead and click Manage, Manage Links, Add, Revit. And so now you'll see we're going to go into Architecture, Consumed, MEP, and that's where we're going to link from. And so when the MEP makes a change and they publish and share, you are not going to see that change because you're linking to the location in your consumed folder. You're only going to see that change when you determine, hey, we are ready to consume that change. We're going to click consume on the website of things, and that's when we're going to see those changes. And so you see here now, this file shows up or this link shows up. So that's basically what they're talking about when they're talking about the different linking methodologies. It's where you're linking from, and as a result, when you see those latest changes that are basically showing up. All right, so thank you all so much for joining us today. That's pretty much all I had for you. If you have any questions, concerns, anything of that nature, please do go ahead and leave us a comment below or reach out to us. The contact info will be on the next slide. Okay, thank you all so much.